What is going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and welcome to the Queen Charge Dragon Breakdown video. We are going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about this strategy. So, let's go ahead and get straight into the point. What are you looking for with this strategy? Well, we are looking for two air defenses. Like you see right here on this particular base, we want to get these two air defenses. We want to take them down. We want to make sure that we are getting value for our dragons. And on top of this, we're trying to make sure that we can carve out an area of the base. So what are we going to be doing? Well, what we're going to be seeing here is we are going to be breaking this into a section. So right here is a good area for us to really do our charge. For one, we're getting rid of the eagle, which is definitely nice to get. We can get the two air defenses, queen, infernos, wizard towers, easy value. So that's really what we're kind of looking for there. Now, why not any of the other sections or other areas of the base? Well, if we kind of break this into sort of a section here, you can see the other areas of the base that really wouldn't be worth charging into. You can charge here from 6 o'clock or into from 12. You're not going to nearly get the same value that you would with this strat, or, going in from 3. So you want to make sure that you are taking a look at it like that. So of course 9 wouldn't be a good spot, but 3 is, because you can get down the two air defenses. Now, of course, you could definitely go in, let's say, from this compartment, but that means that you do have to use like something like super wall breakers, or of course you could use the jump again, but of course it varies from base to base is what I'm trying to mention here. So this kind of gives you guys a really good idea of the charge. So I want you guys to really visualize this. So we're going to show you guys this first. What you want to really take a look at is the charge and how we're going to funnel this in. We're going to use the baby dragon in order to help create that. So that's one side. That's from the left. That's going to allow our queen to sort of start working her way this way. But we don't want her to go all the way around. So we want to use the baby dragon on the opposite side to create that side of the funnel. Notice how we used a Coco Loon there in order to make sure that we kept our baby dragon safe so that then it didn't get taken down by the Seeking Air Mine. What this gives us now, as you can see from here, is now easy pathing right into that multi-inferno compartment. So that's very simple, right? Very, very easy. Now, notice how we're not using any rage spells. I was going to say most, but you don't really need to use rage spells with the queen when you're doing a queen walk or even a queen charge dragons. You're going to see a little bit later on, we are going to be using a clone spell with the queen or with the dragon portion. So I definitely would stay tuned towards the end of the video for that one. But of course, what you see here is we're just charging our way in, taking down the two air defenses. It's huge. Now, during this, and while you can do this while you're actually actively charging in, you can funnel the opposite side with your king. So I'm going to pause it right here just to kind of give you guys that idea. So while the queen's charging in here, you can use the king starting over here and get him to funnel this side. So what you're going to be looking at in terms of the pathing is going to be something that looks like this. Since this eagle is going to go down, you really just need to worry about your dragons to go right into here. Now, you may be asking, what about the Stone Slammer? Did I miss that? Did I not talk about it? Well, you can either send the Stone Slammer in with your dragons, or you can send it in ways away from your dragons and continue to allow them to keep the pathing. So you can see from 9 o'clock, this entire, big spot right here is huge. So you want to make sure that you are going to take that down with the Stone Slammer. So I want you guys to really visualize this. So I want you guys to really take a look at this. Notice how that Stone Slammer is working its way over to the Inferno, but we're also using that to make sure that the dragons are getting right over to the other air defense. So you can see from here is that we are going to take down the multi-inferno, which is good. It's definitely going to allow us to get a lot of good value. Now, another thing is that you need to make sure that you're doing is popping that warren ability. It may look a little bit late here, but again, in order to protect those dragons, as many as there are in the base, in order to make sure that you're driving through, you're taking down the last air defense, and that should allow you to get through the rest of the base. So that wasn't that bad. Wasn't hard at all. It gives you guys a really good idea of how to use this. We got more examples for you. So let's go ahead and check out the next attack. So we've got something a little bit different here, a little bit of a different base design, but I want you guys to get, again, the same idea. Where would you enter in from on this particular base? We want to charge and get the 2 air defenses like I've mentioned in the first example, but on top of this, we're trying to get the pathing. So that is the biggest thing that you want to remember. I don't want to repeat this all too much, so I want you guys to get the idea of kind of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to play it for you guys just to kind of talk about this example, a couple things as well, before we move on into the clone spell usage, which we will be looking at a little bit later on, so remember to stay tuned for that. Now you'll notice that what we're doing here is we're not dropping in the healers. The king is already tanking for us on the cannon and that archer tower and the inferno beam. So we want to make sure that we're waiting on our healers. We don't want to drop our healers in because our queen is not taking damage yet. Once she starts taking a little bit more damage, we can drop our healers. He used 1 test healer in order to make sure that the healers didn't move off the queen. And you'll see that we're also using a Coco Loon if there are any seeking air mines in that area. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, you may sometimes be a little bit slow with your rage. So it's alright if you pop the ability. That is completely fine. Now, in this base here, there is one simple design flaw. And it's that by cutting this area down here, by getting rid of the infernos, we create this L-shaped pathing here. So what happens is we get rid of here, we take advantage of the dead zones, and we can even freeze up the air sweepers as well when we're dealing with this. So notice how that design flaw we can take advantage of when we're sending in our dragons in like this. So you'll see that that is exactly what we're doing. We're popping the Warren ability in order to protect everything, and you'll even see that we're freezing up the Wizard Tower and the Sweepers in order to make sure that they are not a nuisance for our dragons as we get through. Now, even though some of these dragons will not move over to the Eagle, this still shows you guys an example of how to use this strategy against those bases where the Eagle might be a little bit harder to reach, and that's exactly what I really wanted to mention in this video. Or in this section. I want you guys to really understand that the Eagle isn't always going to be something that is going to be hugely important. This attack came really close to the wire, but as long as you have that Queen Walk still alive, then you'll easily get through it, because the Eagle should and won't be able to, target onto your queen for as long, especially as she's staying healed up if she has all of her healers still. So definitely keep that in mind when you're using this, but this still gives you guys a really solid idea of what you guys should be looking for in a base, no matter what. So hopefully that this kind of example gives you guys a nice opportunity to really see something a little bit different. But let's go ahead and show you guys an example of using the clone spell with the Queen Charge Dragons. So now we are going into something which is technically a drag clone, but we're looking at the mass dragon, but we're going to see an Electrone going in with the dragons moving in. So you'll see that a little bit later on in this example, but I want you guys to really get the idea of using the clone spell with this strategy. Now you only want to bring 1 clone spell. The reason that you don't want to bring more than 1 is because, of course, it's going to be like 6 housing space. So it's going to be a waste of spell space. So 1 clone is enough to either clone an E-Drag from your Stone Slammer or the balloons. Of course, it's very much base dependent in terms of, is there chain value on the back end, stuff like that. That is what you're going to be trying to look for here. Now, again, you'll see that what we're trying to look for is, again, the air defenses. So you guys already know the drill of what we're trying to do with this. We're just trying to charge our queen in, take care of the air defenses, create pathing. That's exactly what we're doing in here by getting rid of this part of the base. Once we get that done, we have easy pathing to move ourselves through the rest of it. So that's really, really important, something to keep in mind, because it's going to help you guys throughout this entire strategy. Now, when you are trying to funnel the opposite side, you can also use the Stone Slammer, especially if there's defensive pathing like you see right here. That Stone Slammer is going to go into that direction, and it's also going to keep these dragons to go into the section and keep them very close-knit together. Now, you'll see with the Electrone here, I'm just going to pause it so I can get over to here, but you'll see that what we're going to be doing is dropping in that clone and making sure that we can clone the E-Drag. And you can see, though, that we're also going to be able to get chain from it, and which is really, really important with this. We can narrow down the base even further with this. This also gives you guys a huge advantage on different base designs. If you see an area where you can Electrone, then that is going to net you more value. Now, of course, this isn't going to work on every single base. The reason here is the chain value. You had chain value that you could easily get through a good fair chunk of the base with it. So you got to keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you are looking at the right base design in order to know, should I clone the E-Drag? Should I clone the balloon? Now, of course, this doesn't work on every single base. In the next example that I have, we're going to look at the same strategy, except what's going to happen is it's going to be very close. It's going to be very close. So you want to make sure though that you are keeping that in mind, because this doesn't work on every single base design, but it gives you guys an option to using this with the clone spell in order to make sure that you're wrecking a lot of different bases. So let's go ahead and take a look at that attack as well. Now, this last base design here is going to give you guys a good example of the pathing, but also showing you that sometimes the attack could start to fade out a little bit early. So you definitely need to expect that with this strategy more often than not. Remember though that you want to look for the faults in the base, basically being the air sweeper path or placement, how the expos are placed if they're on air and ground. You want to look at all those different things. You never know when something like an air defense here could really pick off all your dragons from the outside. So you got to keep that in mind when you're using this. You want to make sure that you are looking at the flaws of the base. Is there easy pathing? If so, this would be a really good chance to use it. Now, of course, you can always use the Electrone first if you want as well. I sadly don't have an example here for you of that, but it still gives you guys an idea. Another thing that you want to also consider is the placement of dead zones. You'll see that within a lot of these different base designs, especially this one, where you have these like little areas where there's nothing inside of it, maybe except for a wall. And the idea is that this is something that you should take advantage of, especially if it's in an area where you're going to be doing your charge. So if we're going to be charging into here and clearing out this section, we're clearing out this, meaning our pathing now gets a lot easier as we enter into the base. That is really what you really need to think about. Again, notice how we're doing our charge very similar to the other examples. We want to make sure that we're breaking our queen in. Dealing with the enemy CC is not bad. Now notice, if you're dealing with an E-Drag CC, even though this wasn't, if you're dealing with that, poison it, rage up your queen, you're good to go. You don't really need to spend a ton of time dealing with an E-Drag. It's not that hard of a CC. It's very easy to deal with. Now you'll see from here is our pathing now gets chopped up into something like this. Thanks to the dead zone that is right here, we're going to have easy pathing in. This is what you're looking for. You want this easy pathing in order to make sure that you are getting yourself into the base. Here's an example where we have the Stone Slammer going in with all of our dragons. We want to make sure that we are using that with the drag clone. We're using that with the clone. We're using the Electrone here in order to make sure. We're going to show you guys with the cloned balloons this time. And you guys can see from what you see right there, we're going to get value from our balloons as not just tanks, but also to get down defenses like the Expos, the Eagle, stuff like that. That can really help you a lot. That's really when, of course, you can definitely pick or choose on whether or not an E-Drag would be, or cloning the E-Drag would be better, or cloning the balloons. And this kind of gives you guys a good example of cloning the balloons because it offered a little bit more value, even if the attack definitely looks like it's starting to fade out a little bit. It's definitely still much more of a smash attack in some way because you're using a masked dragon, but this still gives you guys a really solid look into how you guys can really use this strategy a little bit more. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Feel free to go ahead and join any of the clans I cover in the description. Definitely worth a shot, and follow me on social media and all the places that I stream, which are on my overlay over here. On top of that, remember to go ahead and share with your clanmates if they want to become better attackers. Remember, guys, to check out this video over here. Make sure that you're checking that video out. It's going to be very helpful for you, for those of you who are looking for another video after this. With that being said, guys, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.